Steve, where's my SKS sling? Steve, can I have that? Good boy. Okay, this morning I have the Sergei Simonov model 1939 SKS. This one's a little bit different, a little bit cooler than the normal garden variety Chinese model. This is a factory 26 original. It is all matching parts. We got a serial number here. And we have this cool little triangle, if you can see it, with the number 26 in there. Places to see where the parts match up are going to be here, on the bottom of the magazine well, bottom of the trigger well, on the back of the recoil spring cover, and also, if we can see it here faintly, on the stock. And they all match up. So if you don't know much about the SKS, they're pretty cool. When they came out of production in Russia, they were already getting ready to get kicked to the curb because they were obsolete. They were a shrunk down version of the SVT-40, although the operating systems differ quite a bit. But they were already being phased out by the AK-47. So what Russia did was they called up China and said, hey, we're trading technology with you guys. We're going to ship all of our machining and operations to China with our advisors and with our engineers, and you guys can start making them. Plant 26 rifles, these ones, the originals, were made in 1956 and 57, and they were made in Jiangxi, China. They used blade bayonets. They also switched to spike bayonets in 1971, but typically you would see a bayonet that folded at this point here and was kept into this stock. Much like me, it has a belly on it. It's called a perch belly. So if you see a stock at a gun show or something like that that has a perch belly, you know it's for a blade bayonet. I also used the stock to date this, and they started switching to the side mounts here, or on the other side there, for the slings. This was a 1956-57 model. Pretty cool little gun, very accurate. They really did a lot with these. They made them work very well. This is considered to be one of the better of the Chinese models, and a lot of the SKSs used in Vietnam were of the Plant 26 variety, which is just saying Russian parts. It's not, there's no Chinese lettering on here. It's not stamped Narenko for commercial model or anything like that. So these things were really handy, really short, kind of robust little guns, and they really got the job done. And the military surplus market has been flooded with them over the years, but now they're starting to come up in value very, very highly. It's hard to find a decent non-forced match rifle for under $500. So let's do operation here. It's semi-automatic, and it uses a piston system, and what that means is gas coming from up here pushes a piston down this tube through the handrail to the piston extender, which is another piece of steel, and it smashes into this bolt, driving it back. And when the bolt comes back, it pretty much kicks out another round, loads one off the internal magazine into the chamber here. Pretty easy operation. The thing doesn't kick too bad. It's not that really different from a lot of the other World War II semi-autos. This thing's beat to heck as far as finish goes, but I don't really mind it. It's really just a shooter. It's a lot of fun. You can get a lot of aftermarket stuff for them. Two things I picked up off of Amazon were this $20, I think it was actually a $15 period collect sling. I guess they use these in the 60s, but the jungle typically ate the leather up pretty good. And also a cleaning kit here. And all that has is a brush and a, let's see here, a patch pull, a scraper, and a little punch. And then when you're done with that, it all goes right into the back of the buttstock here, and it'll lock in. Gun obviously has some cosmetic issues, also has a couple cracks in the stock. You can see here, that's a good one. They pinned a couple of them. I think there's one on this side here. Yeah. Or they would put a brass pin in here or a steel pin to try and fix the crack in the stock without having to replace the stock. Those are smaller. Other than that, structurally, it's not a bad gun at all. When it came to me, it was caked in cosmoline, which is their shipping and packing grease for Russia and China. And you had to sweat it out, meaning you had to heat up the stock. I had the stock sitting outside for like 3 days in July. But it took care of it pretty well. We're going to take it apart in a second, but I wanted to show you guys real quick how it loads. I'm not going to actually be loading live rounds here. I'm just going to make sure it's unsafe. But how it works is this is a stripper clip. And you would load one round into the spring-loaded clip here at a time. You can load this rifle one at a time, but it was designed for these. And how this works is this stripper clip here feeds into the top of the bolt. Once it sits in there, you take your thumb and push down on these rounds, and you'd hear them loading into the internal magazine. I did put 9 on here, and I got 9 back. The other way to do it would be to take the round itself and push into the internal mag, and you'd hear it lock. One thing that is very important with these, if you start messing around with them, is to never put a round into the chamber here and throw the bolt forward. If you're going to load one round, do it in the magazine. This thing does not have a spring-loaded firing pin, so I mean, you can, it's called slingshot loading, where you put one in here and then rack it, and sometimes that bolt will cause it to detonate. It'll cause a round to go off. So, that being said, I'm going to mount up the camera and we'll take a little look at about how she comes apart. Hold on a second, guys. Alright, we're mounted up. I have 2 hands here. How you can load that, excuse me, how this works is this internal mag here, when it's locked back, it's empty. 2 ways to get around that are you can take your thumb or someone else's, put it in here, push down on that follower, and it'll go forward. Or you can just pop the trap door down here, which has the spring. Like this. And then you can take it forward. Just do a quick down and dirty takedown on this guy. You got your takedown pin here. Flip that all the way up. You're going to hold on to here, under the cover. Once this is at 12 o'clock, it pulls directly out that way, releases your cover. When you do that, as long as your bolt is forward, you don't have to worry about spring tension here. There's your recoil spring. Your bolt and bolt carrier group here, they are loosely connected right here by these teeth here, and they come apart pretty easily. Easy to clean. There's a lot of space in there, so you get dirt, gunk, grime, and everything like that. It doesn't affect operation too much. One of the things I was mentioning before is that this is not a spring-loaded firing pin. So when you slingshot that round in there, that firing pin is exposed on here. There's nothing here stopping that firing pin from hitting the back of that primer. So if you rack that round in here solo, there's a good chance that that firing pin will detonate a primer. Alright, moving on. Our piston takedown is right here, and it's just a little lever. So I can line it up right here. And then piston went flying. Oh, that's okay. Alright, I got it. It went flying across the basement here. That's the piston. So when the rifle's fired, all that gas is coming up through here, pushing this back. Almost, I mean, exactly like a vehicle piston would work. Take this up a little further. There's our piston extension spring. And all that piston's coming back and it's doing is just driving this into a spring-loaded piston extension, smashing into the bolt, coming back. Let's see if I can get this guy out of here. Typically you got this is under a lot of tension. Troops in the field used to use a round to do it. They'd use a 7.62 by 39 round to do it. I'm going to go for the T-handle here. And it is under a lot of pressure. Once that's popped, this is on a hinge where your trigger group come right out. And your internal magazine here. Flip it over. It should come right out of the stock. That's your very basic field strip and disassembly. These things you can take off the handguards and replace them. They're a little bit of a pain. But just what a cool, simple little rifle to deal with here. They make everything for these. They make all the Tactical stocks, all the Mall Ninja crap that you can put on here with the lights, the lasers, the rails. I like to keep this one simple. This is just a very rudimentary carbine, and I kind of decided to keep it that way. I might deer hunt with it, I might screw around with it, but you can really do anything to them. You can put lights, lasers, all that cool stuff on there. This is really a base model. I have a Yugo M59 that I'll bring out eventually that has all the other cool improvements that came around in the 1960s. But this thing will probably just stay the way it is. I think it's kind of cool just to look at it and just see what's going on with it. It's very accurate. But this wood here, and that's what makes it look like hell, is what they call chew wood from China. And the actual wood name is the catalpa wood. And I guess that's a wood that they have in China. They used it on their World War II. I think they used it on the SVTs. They definitely used it on their World War II Mosins. It's crap. And you have to sweat out all the grease and everything else. The best looking part of the stock is even right here. But anyway, there were 15 million of these things made. They think around 2 million were made at the Jinshi Arsenal before they started getting into the Norinco stuff. And it's just kind of cool. My buddy from the base said, hey, found some cheap SKSs. I said, hey, let's go get them. So he got one, I got one. And aside from probably spending about 6 hours cleaning this thing up, I haven't had a bad experience with it. It's just, it is what it is. It's a mill cert collectible. It's just cool to have. So, the SKS is still being used as a parade rifle in Poland and a couple other comm bloc countries, or former comm bloc countries. I I'm assuming that someone's got one in Ukraine right now, or the Russian forces have them in Ukraine right now, just as a support weapon. But they're still in use today, and I'm sure that they're still killing deer across America. So, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Give me a like, give me a subscription if you feel like it. And next week, I'll probably do something different. So, thanks guys, I appreciate it. Later.